Hey everybody, I'm out here on a perfect Pacific Northwest day where it's 39 degrees and raining. And I'm out here shooting a waterfall, believe it or not, and because I want to show you this cool filter system that I'm starting to use now called Maven filters. Maven produces some circular magnetic filters that are easy to use and are of fantastic quality. I'm super stoked about using these things. So I came out to this local waterfall just to give you a sample of what kinds of effects you can create with using circular polarizers and neutral density filters. And a lot of people have stopped carrying filters in the field, and I still find an incredible amount of use for them. You know, even graduated neutral densities to knock back the sky, what that does is it helps me get a better exposure in camera, which makes my life easier when it comes to post-processing on the computer. But more particularly, there is nothing that you can do to cut the glare and reflection on wet foliage in post, so you have to use a circular polarizer in the field. And I carry a CPL with me everywhere I go, every time I go out. It is one of the mandatory filters that I always have in my bag. And with the Maven filters, you'll see that the circular polarizer does a fantastic job. So the Maven filters come in this wonderful plastic case that are specifically designed and engineered to house these filters. And the cool thing about it is that there are different slots of varying widths to accommodate the different filters. From a splash guard UV filter to a polarizer to 3 different NDs that I have in this small little packet. You know, the other cool thing about the Maven filters is that because they're color coded, it's very easy to pick out which exact filter that you want. So with every filter set, what you do is you get this little magnetic ring that you can screw onto the barrel of your lens. And you need to buy the right magnetic ring, the right size of it, to fit on your lenses. And if you have lenses that are different sizes, Maven does offer some step-up filters. So you can buy one filter set and use it on varying sizes of lenses. Now the cool thing you can do with this is, let me see if I can switch hands here, is really because they're magnetic, I've got the magnetic filter ring on the front of my lens. All I have to do is go bam, and my filter is installed. And then to take it off, you just pry it off. It's a really strong magnet, strong attraction. If I bump or jostle my camera, it's not going to fall off. And to use the circular polarizer, all you need to do is rotate the filter until you get the desired effect. And you can see the glare start to go off the rocks and the foliage in your shot. So here's a shot without the polarizer, and here's a shot with the polarizer. The other really cool thing about this is that circular polarizers will also cut some of the light, which will allow you to have a longer shutter speed. Now the other really cool thing you can do with these magnetic filters is you can stack them. So I could stack a 3-stop neutral density on my circular polarizer, or vice versa. In theory, I would put my circular ND on first, then my polarizer on last, so I can twist the polarizer more easily to have that polarization effect. So here I have the red rimmed filter, which is a 3-stop ND. And all I need to do for this, if I really wanted to, is just slap it on the outside, or more specifically, I'll separate them. I'll put that 3-stop ND on first, and then I'll put the circular polarizer on. And really what NDs are used for is to, again, cut the light that's coming into the camera, reduce the amount of light coming in so I can have a longer shutter speed. Why do I want a longer shutter speed? Well, I want a longer shutter speed to blur the water. This is how I get that water motion. So I get asked a lot, what strength of ND should I use? How much do I need to block the light when I'm shooting water, moving water? Well, you know, a lot of it depends on the volume of the water and the speed of the water. If the water's going really fast, you're going to get a lot more motion blur at a particular shutter speed than you would be at with using slower water. So if the water's moving fast, you don't need to cut as much light to get the same motion effect. If it's overcast like it is today, again, I have that muted soft light. So I'm already dealing with a low light situation, and I don't need to cut the light that much to get my desired water effect. And a lot of it depends on what kind of effect you want in the water. Some people like that really smooth cotton candy water. I prefer a little bit of definition in my water. I want to see the streaks coming down in the water because it helps give definition and shape to the flow of the water. So I don't like to blur it out too much. So, you know, you can see from these 3 images that I'm going to show you, I went from no filters to a polarizer to a 3-stop ND, and at the 3-stop ND, I ended up at a little over 3 seconds of exposure, which is an awful lot for me for this amount of flow in this waterfall. Ideally, I'd like to cut it down to maybe 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds and see what the effect looks like. So the way I can cut the shutter speed down a little bit using my 3-stop ND filter is to increase my ISO. I was shooting at ISO 125, and so if I bump that up to ISO 250, I will get a shorter shutter speed, and I may get the desired water effects that I'm going for. Now, if I really wanted to blur out the water, I'm going to pull out my 6-stop ND filter. You can see it here. It's got the pink rim around the outside of it. So I'll just go ahead and put that on the outside of my circular polarizer, and let's see what we get. So at ISO 400, I was at an 8-second shutter speed. When I turned that down to ISO 125, it turned into a 23-second exposure. That's just crazy long for water exposure. I'll occasionally do long exposures like that at the ocean, but generally not with waterfall. The other thing that I'm really liking about Maven filters is there's no color cast. And by that I mean color shifts using the filters. I've used a ton of filters over the years, and I can't tell you how many times I've come back with a purple tint to my images. And this purple tint generally happens on the higher strength ND filters, occasionally on the GND filters, but Maven has done a wonderful job removing the color cast from their ND filters. Even going up to the 10-stop ND filter, I did not see any noticeable color cast whatsoever using their filters. So I'm absolutely ecstatic You know, I can't wait. I'm getting a 15 stop and an 18 stop coming up here really soon. And I can't wait to try those out in the field to see about their color casting as well. So there's times when I'm shooting waterfalls that I do like to put on longer lenses and just isolate some element in the waterfall. And today I brought my Fujifilm 50-140, which is a great tack sharp lens and I love it. The challenge though is that this lens barrel has a 72mm thread. The filter set I have is 77mm. So how do I get these filters to work on my lens? Well, it's a beautiful thing called a step-up ring. Hopefully you all know what those are. Maven offers some magnetic step-up rings. And I got a 72 to 77mm step-up ring. So I screw the 72mm onto my lens. Then I can use my 77mm lenses. If you want a more in-depth view of the step-up rings, I'll post a little video up here for you to take a look at. But let's go ahead and put the 50-140 to use. Well, my fingers are absolutely frozen. I've gotten enough photographs, I think, and I'm soaked. So I think that's another successful day in the Pacific Northwest. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.